Right. That's a good question. Nothing is wrong with sensuality. That's very normal. And that's nature. If you see something, that's nature. When you hear something, that's nature. We don't have to change that. We don't have to deal with it. If you have eyes, and if you have a brain, and if you have a body, and if your body is still alive, that means if the mind is created in your body, you will see. That's totally fine. You don't have to stop that. But some people think that we have to stop it. That's why some people want to go to a forest and stay there. But the problem is, when they go to a forest, still they will see. But when they live in a city, they will see something. And when they go to a forest, they will see something else. You can't stop seeing things, and you don't have to. First of all, we need to find the problem. Seeing is not the problem, hearing is not the problem. Problem is you are suffering. That's the problem. We can teach you how to see without suffering. That's the Lord Buddha's doctrine. That's the Lord Buddha's way. When you see if you are suffering, that's not natural. That's not nature. When you see if you are happy, that's nature. Now think about yourself. Are you suffering? When you see something, do you suffer? When you listen to something, do you suffer? Then something is wrong. That's what you need to find out first. When you understand the Dhamma, that means when you understand the Lord Buddha's doctrine, you should be able to live in this world without suffering. When someone asks from the Buddha, who's the bhikkhu in your sasana? What he said is, Yoda punyancha papancha, bahitva brahmacharyava, sankhaya loke charati, save bhikkhuti uchati. If you can eradicate all your defilements by contemplating the Dhamma, understanding the Dhamma, and practicing the path, you will stay in this world without defilements. You can walk with other people. You can stay among other people. While they are suffering, you will be happy. Because you don't have defilements. If you can live your life without defilements, you are the bhikkhu. You don't have to have a robe to become a bhikkhu, become a monk, a Buddhist monk. You don't need a bald head to become a monk. You don't have to shave your head. But this is the tradition. Once you become a monk, you have to follow that tradition. But before you become a monk, you have to be a monk. That means before you take your robe, you have to become a monk. To become a monk, you need the Dhamma. That means you need to have a proper understanding about the world. If you don't understand this, you will follow the blind. Then you'll go to a forest and stay there. and you will close your eyes forever. Because if you believe that if when you see something, that's the cause of suffering, then you will close your eyes forever. There are some people who practice these things. I can't see any logic. Therefore, you don't have to practice like that. You just need to understand the Dhamma. Understand the Dhamma means you will understand nature. Then, first of all, you will understand what's wrong with you. Each and every time when you see something, you are suffering. Because when you see something, you have a feeling of wanting. Because when you see something, a desire is created. A desire to see, and a desire to see a specific thing which you like. It happens due to attachment. It happens due to ignorance. Ignorance means if you don't know about the world, if you don't know about the reality, then if you don't know the reality, then you can't see the problem. If you want to see the problem, you should know the truth. Try to understand that bit. If you don't know the truth, then you don't know the problem. Because you think that this is not the problem, this is the problem. Sometimes you feel that seeing is the problem, hearing is the problem, smelling is the problem. That means when you smell something, you feel that I'm suffering because I smell it. That smell comes to me. That's the problem. If you think that, then you will try to avoid all the smells come to you. If you have a noble person to associate, you can stay at home, I'm telling you. You don't have to come to the monastery. But you have to come to the monastery now because you can't find a noble friend at your home. Can you find? What about your wife? Your husband? Can they be a noble friend to you? No, they can be a friend to you because you define who is the friend. You have heard this. A friend in need is a friend indeed. You have heard this. That means when you have your wantings, if there is someone who can help you to fulfill your desires, then you consider him as a friend. That means if you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But these people are not noble friends. If you stay with them, you can't achieve your salvation. That's why you have to come to the monastery. That's why we always ask you to come to the monastery, because monastery means a paradise of noble friends. Here we have noble association. Noble association means people who have understood the Dhamma. That means they don't ask you to scratch their back because they know how to scratch their back. That means actually they know not how to scratch their back, actually they know how to cure their ailment. If you have a rash, you can do two things. You can scratch or you can cure it. When you have a rash, you know it's itchy. When it's itchy, you try to scratch it. When you try to scratch, you will feel pleasure. And sometimes you ask someone to scratch it. When someone scratches it, then you feel pleasure again. Then you think that he's a friend indeed because he scratched it and he gave me pleasure. Then you want her or him to be with you because you think that he or she will scratch you forever. then you don't want to cure your ailment. You don't want to cure your rash because you think that it's pleasurable. And you think that your friend is also pleasurable. He gives you pleasure all the time. Therefore, you want to associate them, and sometimes you marry them. Why do you marry them? Because you want them to be with you all the time. Because you know that you have a huge rash in your body. Therefore, you use these people to scratch yours. That's what you do, ladies and gentlemen. But these people are not noble friends. I'm not insulting them. They are friends, I know that, but they are not noble friends. If you want to achieve your salvation, then you need a noble friend. If you want to cure yourself, you need a noble friend because they know the medicine. They found the medicine. They have been practicing it. They have been applying it. Therefore, they know how to cure your wound. They know how to cure your rash. Therefore, they will help you to cure your rash. That's why you need noble companionship. This is very important. Otherwise, you don't have to come to the monastery. If you can find someone who help you and guide you to attain Nibbana, then you can stay wherever you want. You can wear whatever you want if you have noble friends with you. Therefore, I don't see anything wrong with sensuality. But if you attach yourself to that, then you will suffer. That's why the Buddha said the cause of suffering is attachment. He didn't say that cause of suffering is sight, sound, taste, smell, touch. He didn't say that. That's not the cause of suffering, ladies and gentlemen. Cause of suffering is attachment. That means if you attach yourself to that, then you will be vexed. When you are vexed, you need to do something to come out of that. You know what happened after that. When you are vexed, therefore we need to stop being vexed. You need to try. But the problem is, before you try that, you should understand the reality of the world, which means the theory of everything. That means the theory of cause and effect. If you don't know about that, then whatever question you ask from me, I'm telling you this, I have to explain the theory of cause and effect, ladies and gentlemen, because that's the primary doctrine of the Buddha. If we don't understand that, actually it's really difficult for you to understand this because you have been practicing different things so far. You haven't seen the Dhamma yet. You couldn't realize the world. That's why you are suffering. If you say that, no, I have realized the world. I have learned many things. I have 5 PhDs. Okay. Even though you have 1 million PhDs, are you suffering? Answer that question, please. Are you suffering? That's it. If you are suffering, what's the point in having all the PhDs, ladies and gentlemen? Again, I'm not insulting you. But I'm not impressed because you are suffering. If you are not suffering and you are happy all the time and you have 5 PhDs, I will worship you. Even if you don't know how to write a letter in the language, I would worship you if you are happy. If you are happy, just think about that. You have been trying to be happy, ladies and gentlemen. Well, you couldn't achieve it. You got your PhD, but still you are suffering. You got married, still you are suffering. You had children, still you are suffering. You have a big mansion to live, still you are suffering. You have been trying to do each and everything you know to make yourself happy, but you fail. That's why we ask you to think about this. We have a path. We have a path, and you can Practice this and you can enjoy your life. I'm telling you. You can enjoy your life, but right now you can't enjoy your life, because when you enjoy your life, when you start to enjoy your life, suffering is created in your mind and vexation is created in your mind. You want to see things, when you want to see things, the vexation is created in your mind. When a thought come to your mind, you don't have to see something, ladies and gentlemen. When a thought come to your mind, you start to vex. You know that. That means you can't think without being vexed. Can you imagine that? That's why we need the Dhamma. That's why we need to understand it. That's why we need to eradicate ignorance. When we are ignorant, we can't see the problem. But now you see the problem. To see the problem, we need to come to that point, which is the theory of cause and effect. We need to come to that. Because you need to understand that everything is a process. Seeing is a process. If you understand the process, then you will see how can you see and how suffering is created. To understand that, you should know the theory of cause and effect. Because if you think that everything is an entity and everything is fixed in this world, and sometimes God created, again, I'm sorry to say this, if you really believe that everything is created by God or Ishwar, Brahma, whoever it is, then you can't answer your problem. Because if you believe that everything is created by God, then you know the suffering is also created by God. Then you have to go to a temple and pray in front of God and offer things to God and plead from Him. Because you need Him to eradicate your suffering. If you believe that the suffering is created by God. And if you believe that happiness is also created by God, then again you have to go to a temple, a church, a mosque, and again plead from them. But if you can understand that this is a process, and when the causes are there, an effect is created. And if you can understand that the suffering is also an effect, happiness is also an effect, seeing is also an effect, everything is an effect, then you can win. When you understand that everything is an effect, now you have to do something. But if you understand that everything is created by God, then God has to do something. Therefore, if you want to attain Nibbana, that depends on your understanding. If you want to attain Nibbana, God can make you attain Nibbana, or you can try hard to attain Nibbana. That depends on your understanding. If you believe that everything is created by God, then you have to go to God and ask Him to work hard on behalf of you and let you attain Nibbana. That's what people do, ladies and gentlemen. They spend 500 rupees or $5 and go to a mosque or church or a temple and say that, I want to buy this land, please help me. I want to find a good wife, please help me. I'll give you $5. But the same person, they give a marriage bureau $500. That means people don't want to do things. That's why, actually, most people are lazy, ladies and gentlemen. They want easy money. They want to take everything very easy. That's what people do. They want do everything. They want take everything easily. But the thing is, easy come, easy go. That means if you want to attain Nibbana, if you want to achieve your salvation, you have to work hard. When you work hard, you can eradicate your defilements. Because that defilements are created in your mind. You have to do something to come out of that. If you can understand that it's a process, then you know that's a process. If the causes are there and effect is created, then if you don't want that effect, if you know that suffering is created due to these defilements, then you can eradicate them. Because you know that you can do this because you have seen the process. But if you think that everything is created by God, you haven't seen the process and you don't know that it's a process. Then you have to pray. And you have to wait until God take all your defilements and cure you. Have you seen anyone who is happy so far in your life? And you know that if you go to a temple or a church, you will find priests. Talk to them. When you talk to them, again, I'm not insulting them, talk to them and ask from them, are you happy? Because they have been working for God for many years now. If God can take all your defilements and make you happy, then He would have done it to His people. Vexation occurs due to attachment and ignorance and defilements, if I say simply. Defilements. If God can take all of your defilements and make yourself happy or cure you, God would have done it to them. He didn't, because then don't think that, oh, God is very unkind. No, He didn't, because He can't. That's the reason. He can't. Don't blame God. He can't. Why? Because He didn't create your defilements. Defilements have been created in your mind. When the mind is created, defilements also created in your mind. Therefore, the mind is vexed. After that, the mind has to do something to come out of that. Then mind start to see illusions. Then you will feel your existence. Actually, you will feel your existence. You feel your existence, but it's not real. It's an illusion. When the mind is vexed, don't trust the mind. Remember this. When you are vexed, don't trust your mind, because the mind sees illusions after that. That's a safety mechanism in the mind. When the mind is vexed, to protect it, there's a safety mechanism in the mind, and it is activated at that time. When it's activated, then the mind starts to see illusions. That's how you feel your existence, ladies and gentlemen. You think that you have been living. When you learn the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, I'm telling you, you will realize this. Each and every time a mind is created, because of the defilements, suffering is created. There are two processes. When the mind is created, you can see. That means if you want to see, the mind should be created. Mind is not an object. It's not fixed. It's not like your liver. When you check your liver right now also, you can see it. But the mind is created all the time. But I'm not saying that liver is also a fixed thing. Nothing is fixed in this world. But later on we will talk about that. When you see your finger, then you can see the finger. But you feel that this has been there for long. But the mind is not like that, ladies and gentlemen. Mind is a process of energy. It's like when you see this bulb, you can see light, but you should know that light doesn't emit from the bulb. Light doesn't emit from the bulb. Energy emits. Light is created in your mind. Light is created in your mind. Darkness is created in your mind. If you want to create darkness right now, just close your eyes. Then you have created darkness. If you want to create light, just open your eyes. Then you will see the light. That means the light is created in your mind, and the darkness is also created in your mind. Then what's the purpose of this light bulb? It emits energy. That energy can stimulate your corn cells and rod cells in your eyes. That's called light energy. Look, it's a process. You have learned this, but you didn't believe it. You didn't see it in this point of view. But now, this is a process. You know that. That means when you see something, it's also a process. If you want to stop that, you know how to stop. Look, now you see me. If you don't want to see, what should you do? Just close your eyes. That means you create darkness within you. If you don't want to see anything. I can't create darkness for you. You can create it. Because it's also a process. Light is a process. Darkness is a process. Colors are also a process. If you want to see a color, then you need to do that process. Then if you don't want to see it, then you can stop that process. That's why you close your eyes, because this light energy should enter your eyes. If you can avoid that, you can't see anything. Look, if it is a process, you can amend it, you can change it. If you want, you can stop it. If you want, you can continue it. If it is a process. If it is a process, you can do something to it. Now let's think about suffering. If suffering is also a process and you don't want to suffer, then you can stop it. You just need to find out what are the causes. If you don't want to see something, you can close your eyes because you know the causes. You know your eye is also a cause. Then if you can close that, if you can eradicate that, then you won't see it anymore. You won't see anything anymore. That's science, ladies and gentlemen. You have been learning science since your childhood. That's the basic principle of science. If you believe that everything is fixed and everything is an entity, then you can't do anything. Now you know that everything is a process because you have understood the theory of cause and effect. Therefore, please apply the theory of cause and effect to each and everything until you understand this. You just need to understand it first. That's what you need. Or that's why you need noble companionship. Because when you are suffering, a noble friend will help you to realize the world. When you are suffering, a noble friend will show you the real problem. Real problem must be this attachment, ladies and gentlemen. You attach yourself to everything because of your ignorance, because you don't know. You haven't seen the reality. To see the reality, you need the Dhamma, because you can't see it. You can't see the reality through the physical eye. You have to use your mental eye. That means you need wisdom. You need to achieve wisdom. you need to gain the wisdom. When you gain wisdom, ignorance will disappear. Ignorance was the problem. Now you achieve wisdom. Therefore, now you don't have ignorance anymore. That means you enlighten yourself. Now, the process also stops. Look, you have seen it. There's a process. Then ignorance, attachment, wanting, then vexation. Now, if you don't want to be vexed, then you need to stop this process. To stop this process, you can enlighten yourself and achieve wisdom. When you have wisdom, you don't have ignorance. That means if you are not ignorant, you can't have vexation, even though you want. Let's take this example. Right? There's an awesome fire, and you don't want it. Therefore, you extinguish it by using carbon dioxide. Now, your room is full of carbon dioxide. But now you want to light a candle. You didn't want that awesome fire, but now you want to light a candle. But your room is full of carbon dioxide. Therefore, you can't light a candle. You can't make fire, even though you want. When you eradicate all of your defilements, you can't have vexation, even though you want. I know that you don't want to be vexed, but even though you want, you can't have it back. That's what happened to Arahants. They have eradicated all their defilements. Now they roam among other people, but they are not suffering. He is the real bhikkhu. If you really want to become one of his monks, then you need to achieve that. But I'm telling you this, please don't hurry, because great things take time. Sometimes when you practice the path, there will be more ups and downs. Don't worry about that. Just stay calm. Understand more. You know that you have defilements. That's why you came here. You have been suffering. That's why you came here. But we can't finish everything. We can't eradicate everything with a blink of an eye. We can't do that. It takes some time. It's like a string in a knot. If you want to untie it, patience will untie it. You have to be patient. When you eradicate your all defilements, you have to be patient. Because if you are vexed about your salvation, again, you have defilements and you feed your defilements. If you think about your salvation all the time, look, I have been practicing this for 4 months, but still I'm suffering. Yeah? If you start to think like that, then you are vexed because of that thought also. You don't have to think about your salvation, ladies and gentlemen. Salvation will be achieved. You just need to eradicate your defilements slowly. Then you will raise another question. What if I die? Therefore, I had to hurry this. I had to do this quickly. But you can't. Don't try. If you die, you will be born. Then we can do it. If you attain Nibbana, you won't be born. If you can't understand this bit, don't take it. If you have achieved Nibbana, you won't be born. And if you are not, you will be born. Therefore, you don't have to worry. Try to use your time to eradicate defilements slowly. That's what you need to do. To eradicate your defilements, you need the Dhamma. Only with the Dhamma you can eradicate your defilements. To eradicate your defilements, you need only two things. One is the Dhamma, the other one is you. That means you should have yourself. That's why the Buddha said, you yourself must strive. The Buddhas only show you the path. That means you should try. You are the only one can save yourself. I'm telling you. You are the only sanctuary. Don't look for a sanctuary in anyone. You are the only sanctuary. Understand the Dhamma. When you are suffering, try to understand the Dhamma. That means you should think that when you are suffering, you should think that you are suffering because of lack of understanding the Dhamma. If you have that in your mind, you will always try to understand the Dhamma whenever you are suffering. And you will experience that also. When you practice the Dhamma at that time, then you will be free from suffering at that moment. But again, when you miss your mindful awareness, you will be suffering again. At that time also, try to apply the Dhamma. Don't try to do other things. Your mind will ask something else because it's so ignorant. That's why when someone is suffering, when someone is vexed, he wants to get married. He wants to eat delicious food. He wants to listen to music. Because the mind thinks that that's the reason the mind is suffering. Therefore, when you are vexed, please don't listen to your mind. When you are suffering, it shows you one thing. That means your mind is ignorant. When you suffer, only thing you need to understand is your mind is so ignorant. Because the ignorant mind leads to suffering. Therefore, when you suffer, when you experience that is when you feel fear, when you are afraid, when you are frightened, when you are sad, when you are disappointed, when you are angry, everything happens due to ignorant mind. Therefore, try to educate your mind at that time. To educate your mind, you need the Dhamma and use the Dhamma to educate it. That's the only way you can cure your wounds, ladies and gentlemen. That's the only way. Otherwise, you can bend over backwards to achieve worldly things. You can work your fingers to the bone to achieve things. But still, you will be suffering. This is the only cure. please try to understand the process. And first of all, please try to understand that everything is a process. That means the theory of cause and effect, and apply it and understand it thoroughly. Once you have understood it, you know everything is a process. Then think about your suffering. Then suffering, you will understand that the suffering is also a process. Then you will find out, with the help of the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, you will find out what are the causes of suffering. Then you will see ignorance and attachment are the greatest causes of suffering. Then you will see this attachment is also created due to ignorance. Then you can connect two ends. Suffering is created due to lack of knowledge of the Lord Buddha's Dhamma. That means lack of knowledge of nature. The Lord Buddha explains nature, ladies and gentlemen. That wasn't his Dhamma. He improved his wisdom until he sees the reality of nature. If you really want to do that, you have to become a Buddha. Once you become a Buddha, you will see the reality. He saw it and he preached it to us. Now we have the wisdom. That's why when we are vexed, we always know this vexation occurs because of lack of understanding of the Lord Buddha's Dhamma. Therefore, don't try to do other things. That's why there's a great stanza. I'll tell you. Noble teachers ask us to practice. Dhammang vina natti pitacha mata. Tameva tanang saranam patitta. Tasma hibo kicca manyappahaya sunata dhahareta charata dhamme. The Dhamma is the only protection. The Dhamma is the path. That's why the Dhamma is your parents. You can't find any other parents than Dhamma to protect you. Therefore, our ancient teachers ask us to stop all other things and start to listen to the Dhamma, understand the Dhamma, and contemplate the Dhamma. Leave everything behind, what you have been doing, because you know that you couldn't achieve any result. You have been doing this since your birth, but you are still suffering. And if you know that, then practice this. Sunata dhahareta charata dhamme. Look, they are talking about the Dhamma. All of you, they are talking about the Dhamma. Practice it, understand it, listen, discuss. There are 5 ways to practice the Dhamma. Do it. That's why you need this noble companionship. That's why you have it. You are meritorious enough to have noble friends among you. You can associate them. Always associate your noble friends. Be with them. Discuss the Dhamma. And the other thing is, a noble friend also is created when he discusses the Dhamma. Remember this. If you find a friend and you talk gossip, then he is not a noble friend. Right? If you want to become a noble friend, then you have to discuss the Dhamma. Therefore, please discuss the Dhamma all the time. Preach the Dhamma. Listen to the Dhamma. Discuss the Dhamma. Contemplate the Dhamma. Chant the Dhamma. This is the only salvation you have. That's why the Buddha said, Dhamma Ramo Dhammarato Dhammangana Vichintaya. You have to live with the Dhamma, right? You have to create your own monastery of Dhamma. That means if you always stay with the Dhamma, you live in a monastery of the Dhamma. You have to create it in your mind. That means you always be with the Dhamma. Then if you can contemplate the Dhamma like that, then you never fail. You will attain Nibbana. You will definitely achieve your salvation. Because when you understand the Dhamma and when you use the Dhamma, when you associate the Dhamma, look, I'm talking about the Dhamma because this is the greatest thing I have ever come across in my life. Because it explains nature. That means I'm nature. It explains me. Before I didn't know about myself, but I know now, thanks to the Dhamma. Therefore, I strongly recommend you to practice the Dhamma. Sunata Dhareta Charata Dhamme. Look, our ancient teachers asked us to leave everything behind, what you have been doing, because they knew. Because we have been doing things to satisfy ourselves, satisfy our all desires. We took wrong path all the time because of ignorant mind. The mind wants us to do something else. It wanted the Dhamma, but it was so ignorant. Therefore, it didn't know. Then when we asked, what do you want? He said that, I'm vexed. I need a woman. Can you imagine that? It's like, I'm wounded. I need a woman. If you are wounded, what do you need? You need a cure. You need some medicine. Why do you ask for a woman? But the ignorant mind always asks something else. That's what I told you before. Our ancient teachers knew it. That's why they ask us to stop everything what we have been doing and start to listen to the Dhamma, understand the Dhamma, and practice the Dhamma. If you really want to attain Nibbana, if you really want to free yourself from suffering, I strongly recommend you to Sunata Dhareta Charata Dhamme. And remember this also. Dhammang vina natti pitacha mata. This is the only parent you have to protect you. To protect you. Your biological parents brought you to this world. And now the Dhamma is your parents. Therefore, trust your parents, obey your parents, associate your parents. Then you will win one day. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. Thank you.